Greetings YouTube, this is TSR Emperor Dion and Emperor of the 4/9. I feel like today's topic is an important one because I often get players within the Total War community come up to me and just ask me, hey Emperor Dion, what can I do to get good at Total War? What can I do to play better? What is it about what you do that makes you so good at these games? And so I'll get people like this all the time. And I feel like something that a lot of people overlook when it comes to being good at Total War. So, and even a lot of good players don't understand this too. It's that it kind of doesn't matter what style you're using, what armies you're bringing, what specifically you're doing. Like, yeah, this stuff matters, but what matters a lot more than people realize is actually down to player psychology. Yeah, psychology, just the human factor. See, when you're playing competitively in any Total War game, not just Napoleon Total War, but all the good ones really, you have to remember that you're playing against a human being. And one of the things that affects human beings the most is their psychology, their mental state, what's going through their head, what is their thought process, who intrinsically are you up against as a person, who is this person you're playing against. Psychology plays a major role in how good you are in Total War. And in this video essay, I'm going to explain more or less this underlooked aspect of playing good at Total War. See, there's no one that really talks about this other than myself. Maybe there is, but I've never run into such a person. I'm usually the one that brings this up in discussions about being good at Total War. And again, even good players, like genuinely good players, don't often bring this up, if they do at all. So we're going to explore this topic. Probably the most common psychological effect that really trips up a lot of newer players especially is fear. Yes, just straight fear. I talked about how TSR in this video essay, one of the main things that carried them was fear. A lot of people were scared of TSR, and rightly so, because like most of these guys were very, very good on grassy. They were also very, very good on just about any map once they got a team going. Like, they were the dominant clan unquestionably, so a lot of people were scared of them. And this fear fed into itself and just caused them to beat people even worse than they otherwise might have. Fear is a killer in Total War games. If you're scared of your opponent, you're going to be less proactive, you're going to be more passive, you're going to cede ground to them, you're going to give them the initiative, you're going to give them opportunities to do things with that initiative, and you're more than likely going to lose. If you fear your opponent, you've more than likely already lost the match. This is a major killer. This is not the only psychological thing that can really trip you up, however, but I do find that fear is the most common one. A great example of this is a player known as Talcor. Talcor doesn't give a fuck, okay? Talcor isn't scared of nobody. I've seen him. He's gone and won some very daunting matches that would really have most people probably leaving the game or not playing it at all because they're scared. I've seen Talcor go into matches like that and just absolutely fucking clean house, okay? Talcor doesn't give a fuck. This is Talcor psychology. This is, again, a psychological factor that I'm talking about in this video. Talcor does not give a fuck. He will bonsai straight in and just absolutely wreck your shit. And he's able to do that because of his psychology, okay? You can't make Talcor afraid. You cannot instill fear in it. And a lot of elite players too, like a lot of good players are like this, where you're less likely to make a good player afraid, okay? This is part of why good players are good, because psychologically they're not as easily affected. Another huge killer psychological thing that can trip you up in Total War, and this one affects a lot more good players too, is arrogance. Yeah, just simply being arrogant. See, the thing is, most everybody is capable of beating most anyone if the right conditions present themselves. I do believe that the game is such that this can happen. So it's inevitable. You're going to have your ass kicked, and you're going to have your ass kicked in a quite humiliating way. And when that happens, if you're arrogant and it happens, oh my god, this is going to deflate you like a balloon. I think most good players have been through this at least once. I certainly have, more than a few times, but I've seen it in almost every good player. They'll be arrogant, they'll be on their high horse for a while, and then it'll happen. They'll lose some match that they really didn't want to lose, and then they'll go down into this deep depression. They won't know what to do. They'll be contemplating their entire life up to that point. These guys will be broken. Not only will they be broken afterwards, but they'll also keep trying to play, and they'll keep losing. They'll keep losing over and over. They'll just be sinking lower and lower. They'll start to get really insecure about themselves. They'll play worse. This insecurity will kind of cause a feedback loop. I've seen some people genuinely quit Total War for good after something like this happened. Okay, this is a real killer. More so than fear in a lot of ways. It's that they'll be arrogant, they'll lose, they'll have somebody check them, they'll have somebody really humble them, and then they'll become insecure afterwards, and then they'll be in this feedback loop, and they won't be able to get out of it. It's very hard to get out of this, as a matter of fact. Once you let insecurity come in, and it came in because you were arrogant in the first place. Guys, it don't matter how good you are. You need to keep staying humble to a degree, okay? You need to have a certain level of humbleness to you to avoid this. If you ever let it go out of control, like I've seen the best of players, okay? The 409th had probably the best player to ever exist in this game. His name was Lyndon. Lyndon was so much on his high horse, and I've seen this happen to even him. Lyndon has lost to people in such embarrassing ways before that you would have never thought he should have lost to. And it was the most random people too. Not even that great people that he lost to. So if it can happen to someone such as that, you better check your own ego. You better get your own arrogance in check. Because I've seen quite a few people go out of Total War for good. All because they get on this losing streak afterwards and they're not able to recover. It's like trying to recover a stalled airplane, you know? You know how difficult that is if you know anything about aviation? It's just like that, trying to recover a stalled airplane, okay? Don't do it. Don't let yourself ever become arrogant. I don't care if you're like the best thing since sliced bread in Total War. Don't ever let arrogance go unchecked. Now, the third thing that could really affect you psychologically in Total War, and this is what I'm going to spend the rest of the video showing you, is trust, and specifically mistrust. Look, most of us want to be on a team. Like, the trust thing comes more into play when it comes to team games. There's no really trust issues that come up in a 1 versus 1. But in a team games, 2 versus 2 and up, these games are like, it goes unnoticed a lot of the time too. And this is really criminally unnoticed, that trust is a big component as to which team will win in a team game, okay? The degree to which you trust your teammates, that is the most important thing in team games, and especially clan matches too. Like, we don't really have clan matches happen these days anymore, but back then, yeah, that was the thing that I noticed, is trust come up a lot. And people will just chalk it up to skill. Oh, you lost because you suck. Oh, you lost because you didn't have the skill. Ha ha ha. No. Oftentimes, it's because of trust. And this is what this video is going to show you. So, trust, arrogance, and fear. These are the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse when it comes to psychologically performing terribly in Total War. And I'm going to coin this term right now too. This is literally the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse for psychology in Total War. There's other things that can happen psychologically with people, but these are the 3 main ones that I've noticed throughout the years are the most likely to lead to success or failure as far as you being good at Total War. Is, do you fear your opponents? Are you arrogant? And do you trust the allies on which you fight on a team with? These 3 things, the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse for psychology in Total War. So when it comes to trust, there's a very short list of people that I actually trust in Total War. These people would include all members of 409th, and that includes former members of 409th too. I trust them generally. That would include all the insect members that were 409th, and there's members of TSR. I trust most members of TSR too, and that would also include most people from Unity, at least the older guys definitely, and most of the people that are like at least high elite level players and up. I trust those players generally. Okay, now a lot of my trust also depends on how much do I know you personally too. So it's not even necessarily skill as to whether or not I'll trust you on a team, because if I like you as a person, if you're somebody who's just my friend but you weren't that good at Total War, I'll even trust you there too. That's enough for me. Trust is one of these things that I must have, or else I will not play well or competently on a team. And I believe this is true for most people as well. Usually your team, you have to coordinate with your team in order to win team games in Total War. If you don't trust who's on your team, you probably are not going to do very well in the team game, in a team environment. So this is more or less the hard and fast. And this match right here that's being played right now, this is a perfect example. And I'm going to show another example later on of what it looks like when I don't trust my team. But for the most part, you can see I trust Sexy Man. Fortnite Sexy Man, I trust him. Fortnite Grand Army, I trust him as well. They are both Fortnite members. Like I said, I generally trust Fortnite members. This match you see here is basically a Fortnite versus TSR clan match. It's like a friendly thing. Obviously, Fortnite and TSR are friendly with each house, dude. You're not supposed to be in the house. I am over here on the flank with Prussia. Grand Army is in the middle. Fortnite Grand Army is controlling Ottomans. And Fortnite Sexy Man is on the flank. I believe he has France. He's facing against Talcor. Armée is facing against some random who happens to be somewhat good. And also the random took the houses on this map, so it really complicated the situation. He's the only person really taking houses. Everybody else is not taking houses. But see, like, this is another thing that, you know, leads to mistrust, is that if I know you're somebody who's going to do shady things such as taking houses, like, there's like an unspoken rule amongst elite players to not do things like that, like taking houses, for instance. There's a lot of reasons why you don't take houses in this game. It's because the house mechanics are buggy. It makes units damn near invulnerable. And there's certain exploits you can do with the houses too to basically make them impossible to surpass. Like, if you, for instance, start shooting at a house, your unit will start to bug out and it'll start moving places that you don't want it to move. There's a lot of issues with house mechanics in this game, so generally people don't take houses out of courtesy to their opponent and to just, you know, rely more on your skill rather than using this exploit that is possible with the houses. And so that's the thing that can lead to trust issues, is if you're a player that does things like that. But on the other team, there's two TSR members. There's Talcor, and I forget the name of the other TSR guy, but there's two TSR right there. And the match has progressed to where we have stalemated here in the middle. Basically, Fortnite has taken the center of the map. We control the commanding position. Realistically, if we just sit here and do nothing, they're going to be forced to attack us. And for them to do that, they're going to be fighting an uphill battle to do that, meaning that more than likely, if we sit and do nothing, we will win from here. They've basically positioned themselves to where if we attack them, we're guaranteed going to lose. There's no good options as far as attacking on this map, because the French guy, he took those houses, which, again, as I explained earlier, causes issues if you're going to try to push anything. But you see, Sexy Man and Armée are going to try to push something here anyway. I recommended to them not to try it, but they're going to do it anyway, and I don't really mind that. I don't really care, because this isn't like a serious game or anything like that. This is just a casual 3 versus 3 amongst friends. It's just, except for the one French guy who's an asshole, and everybody here could probably agree, fuck this guy, you know. He's sitting in freaking houses camping and ruining what could have otherwise been a good game. Other than that, everybody's here chill, you know. So, Sexy Man and Armée, they're going to push this attack, which you're going to see here in the forest. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it here and say they're going to lose. Okay, we're going to lose this match. Talcor, he's got units all over the field. He's even got units all the way on the opposite side near me. That's going to complicate things when I try to do things. The TSR guy, he's holding pretty steadfast. And really, like, our situation, should we attack, is mostly untenable. It's a very difficult thing to do, even though some people try to argue otherwise. It's not a very easy situation to deal with here. So, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil that. We do lose. I'm going to go and show you an example, however. Like this example here, this is an example of when I do trust my team, though. We got to this good position. I fought off the TSR guy. I fought off Talcor a bit there. I fought off all these guys and took this commanding position. We have this commanding position because we all trust each other, because we all know and can anticipate each other's movements, even when we do something that is not advantageous and is going to lead to us losing. We still do it in a coordinated manner. We still do it with full confidence, and that's the type of thing that really increases the output and the likelihood of you winning a match. It's that trust factor. Even where you're going to lose, the trust factor can really amplify it and make it into a otherwise good game, But now, we're going to go off of this battle now that I've already told you the result, basically. And we're going to go to an example where you don't trust your opponent, and how that really complicates the match and makes it to where you are going to have a much less good outcome, all because you don't trust your allies. Now, the usual way that people mistrust you as a teammate is that they don't trust your ability to perform at this necessary skill level to play this coming match. That's usually how mistrust starts, but that's not the only way you can mistrust your ally. Another way you can mistrust your ally is just straight up, you don't like your ally. You don't like them as a person. They've insulted you. You just straight up don't like their guts, okay? You hate their guts. And that also is a big way to lead to mistrust. Either way, whether it be because your ally sucks or because you just straight up don't like them, the result is the same. You don't trust your ally. And that leads to issues of which we're going to explore in this battle right here. This is another 4-9 versus Unity battle. One that I haven't really shown on this channel before, but one I feel like it's important to discuss anyway, because this is a historical event in of itself, with the 4-9 and INSEC and all the Unity shit and all that drama shit that you've heard me talk about before. This battle plays a role in some of that stuff and why it happened. So here we go. First initial contact right here in the center. My teammates are 4-9 Red and 4-9 Linden, and both of them have gone straight away for the center hill in Italian grassland. They are both going to tell on those Unity guys. I forget which Unities they are. I think it's Purpur and some other guy. I don't remember, but I do remember my opponent in front of me here is Unity Otto. And yeah, the match just progresses straight away like this. We go straight at it. 4-9 versus Unity. Probably one of the last that we've had. I'm going to go ahead and spoil this too. 4-9 win this match. We win this match, but we actually should have won this match a lot harder than we actually did, okay? And the reason why we didn't win as hard as we should have is because, again, mistrust. So why don't I trust Linden? Why don't I trust 4-9 Red? These are two of some of the best players that have ever been in 4-9 after all. Why don't I trust them? Well, it's because this is right around the time that the whole INSEC thing started. INSEC already exists at this stage. They've insulted me. They've already been on their Discord making fun of me, saying shit about me. And really, the only reason I got them to come back to 4-9 and wear the tag for this match is because they were still technically in 4-9, so I can kind of invoke some level of, you better do what the fuck I say because I'm still your leader type shit. I could still do that, but these guys have just spent a whole lot of time insulting me prior to this, saying I don't know how to play terrain maps, saying this and that, and Leonard has also been doing quite a few things prior to this whole thing too. Leonard has always been out of control as a person and as a fellow clan member. But I would like to point to this example right here because look at that gap that's between me and Linden right there. You see that? There's a huge gap between us. That's what it looks like when you don't trust the person on your team. Because you see, in team games, generally you want to be connected with your armies and have this synergy going with your team. And you see, Lyndon and Red have this together. They're close by each other. They're supporting each other in a synergetic way. They are right next, side by side to each other. But you see that gap between me and Lyndon there. And you see, I do have a foot guard behind Lyndon, offering some meager support, but that's not really what needs to be happening. Even as a result of me having that gap there, me not really, I don't want to come close to Lyndon because it's like a subconscious psychology thing going on where I don't trust him, so I don't even want to get next to him. I'm hoarding my own units. I'm just staying off to myself and doing my own thing and making sure my own house is in order. Because you'll see, I've got the most healthy army on this team as the match progresses. That's a direct result of mistrust. Had I thrown my units in right side by side with him, we would have crushed this Austria guy a lot quicker than he does get crushed. But you see here, the Unity guys have no issue with trust. They're all good friends with each other. They all trust each other. So as a result, you'll see them all constantly blended together. You'll see them coming side by side. You'll see them supporting each other accurately and adequately. That's what it looks like when you just simply trust the people on your team. The trust issue going on between me and Lyndon, it has nothing to do with skill. Lyndon's one of the best players to have ever came into this game, easily. The skill isn't the issue. The issue is Lyndon has insulted me several times. You see here, Lyndon notices the gap between us two. He goes in and fills in that gap with his own units. But see, that's going to lead to a little bit of an issue later on. So over here on this side though, Lyndon and Red are doing a phenomenal job against Purpur and Austria here in the center. They're heavily contested the middle here. They're putting up one hell of a fight. Now, the Unity Otto has come over next to his ally here. He's giving it adequate support. He's actually taking some pot shots at Lyndon. He's staked up here in the center, so I can't really directly push him. Meaning that because I'm not supporting Lyndon, well, I'm just essentially hardly doing anything, you know? Like, I do take some pot shots at the Austria guy too, but it's not really as much as I should be doing. What should be happening is I should be over here double lining with Lyndon, but that's not what's happening because, again, I don't trust Lyndon. I don't like Lyndon, okay? And that's the subconscious thing going on. Like, logically, I know that's what I should be doing, but it's like a subconscious thing where I don't like him, so I just kind of let him fend off for himself, you know? Nevertheless, because Chris and Lyndon trust each other, they have almost entirely conquered the center of the map here. Is what you see going on here. You'll see this progress more and more that, yeah, they uncontestedly control the center of the map as it goes on further. You can already see it here more or less. Right, so Lyndon and Chris have taken and completely swept the center of the map. Lyndon has come down towards the forest to try to finish off Austria. You see me trying to throw my cap over there to start maybe supporting him. And again, like I said, logically, I know. Clearly, I know I'm supposed to be supporting him. But I just don't do it, or I do it in a very lackadaisical way because I'm just kind of like, fuck Lyndon, you know, like, this guy just got done assaulting me before this. I don't really like him, you know. Let him fucking finish this shit himself, more or less. So, you'll see me move to try to support him, but it doesn't really pan out the way it should. After this game, I didn't have that many kills, by the way. I have the least kills out of everybody in this match, and that is, again, an indication of how little I actually supported him when it mattered. You know, even here, like, I could easily come up and double line with Lyndon right there. That would be a big help to him, but that just doesn't happen. I could double line with him. I've got all this calf that will break this formation right here easily. I could really push them into a very panicky situation. If only I were more trusting of Lennon. If only I didn't harbor such resentment towards him. If only I was willing to commit my units to him on a subconscious level. Again, this is another one of those psychological things that people don't think about. You know, some people will probably say, "Oh, well, you didn't do all that stuff because you suck." Ha ha ha. No, I don't suck at all. I'm telling you, and you can even see in this game, I know what should be happening because you see me making moves to do it, but it just doesn't pan out naturally how it should because I don't like them. That's literally what it is. This is not a skill issue. This is a psychological issue. This is what a lot of games come down to. These little psychological instances of where, had things been psychologically better, they would have played out in a much more linear, much more straightforward, okay, you just blew this out of the park kind of deal. But no, even though we still end up winning this match, it could have went a lot better, is what I'm saying here, if I had been a lot more willing to commit and support Lyndon the way I would have had I not disliked him so much, okay? That's what it is. This is what this match came down to. Now, I'm going to also go ahead and point out, this match is bugged. The replay itself is bugged. So, the replay doesn't pan out to show the Fortnite win this match, but I do have the screenshot that shows it. Something happened where they updated the game. They gave this game an update and it broke all of my replays. This was one of the replays that got broke, so, you know, it's not exactly going to show accurately what actually happened. But I do have the screenshot to prove it that we won, so, I mean, there's that, even if the replay doesn't show it at the end. But, yeah, so, I'm just going to leave this here. You guys already kind of see more or less, basically. You know, I've still got my healthy army because I haven't really been doing much for most of the game other than taking pot shots. I haven't really been supporting these guys as much as I should have. Had I done so, the match probably would have ended by now, most definitely. You know, leaving Lennon here to fend against both France and Austria himself for the most part, with me just taking pot shots, that's not enough. That's not enough. I need to get in there and actually fully support him. I just don't, because I don't like the guy. And that's the long and short of this video, and why trust is one of those psychological things that can really make or break a match. So I'll leave this here. You guys can watch the rest of the game. This will be the rest of this video. But this has been Emperor Dion. Do heed the lesson of psychology in Total War. Psychology is one of the biggest factors that does not get enough attention. When people ask me, how do you get good at Total War? I can't really answer that as far as, like, you know, me giving you builds, me giving you strategies. That's only 2/3 of it. This is whole third of being good at Total War that involves psychology. And for me to explain it to you, it's hard to really explain it to you. You know, you gotta experience this stuff. You gotta be in the situations. You gotta do little analysis of it like this. Just analyzing it and just explaining to you the background psychology going on and why, you know, things are being done that should have been done, or maybe things that should have been done aren't getting done. All due to psychological issues, not skill issues, but psychological issues going on here. This is an entire third of the game that does not get explored. So anyways, this has been Emperor Dion. Tell me your comments down in the comment section down below, what your opinion on this subject is, and what you could do to better account for psychological factors in battles, to maybe correct them as they're happening with your own playstyle, or to correct them with the team as they're happening maybe. And I'll see you guys later. Please enjoy the rest of this battle.